Hello everyone. This is a follow-up video to the kombucha brewing video that I did about a month ago. So in the last video, I'm going to just post it in the description, so if you need to refer to it, you can. It was about growing your own Scoby, which is the colony of bacteria and yeast that ferments the tea and creates the kombucha brew. So this is after probably about a month, and there's kind of some glare, but you could see that it's in about a little over a 1/4 inch thick. No mold. It's a nice solid color, and it looks really healthy. So I actually took the kombucha that was brewed. This was brewed in, and I did bottle it. I did taste it, and it is a little more acidic than it usually would be because I had to brew this for longer since I needed to grow the Scoby. But just a note, when you do bottle these, make sure you have a really tight lid on it, that it's bottled in glass. And also you could do it's suggested, and I suggest it also from just experience, is doing a secondary fermentation, which is basically letting it sit at room temperature after it's bottled and to let the carbon fill up so it just infuses back into the kombucha, and then you get that fizz, which is just very, it's like kombucha's thing, you know what I mean? Because nothing is more lame than a not fizzy kombucha. So that's that. I got about 5 of these, and you want to keep a little liquid in there because that's your starter liquid when you do a new brew. So I'm doing a new brew now. And I brewed this tea yesterday. It's a little darker than the other one. I actually did more black tea. I just wanted to experiment with that. So this basically just, again, this is 12 cups of tea, 1 cup of sugar, and, 12 cups of water, 1 cup of sugar, and 5 teaspoons of tea. I did 3 teaspoons of green tea, and 2 of black tea, and I used a loose tea. I have not had really good experiences with brewing the tea in the tea bags because there's the main thing of kombucha is that you really want to stay clean and pure to get this to kind of grow correctly. So any kind of added material that could come off of the tea bags I didn't want in there. So basically, so I just brew it loose and then strain it, and you want to let it steep for about 15 minutes before you strain it. And then I let this cool overnight because it has to be room temperature. Do not put a Scoby in a hot tea bath because it will kill it, and it's just a sad thing. So, and also I wanted to know, I just did more reading in that book I told you about. It's just the name, it's like Kombucha by Gunther Frank. And, he, in the book, it explores different sugar nutrient solutions. And, obviously we have the choice between a lot of sweeteners. And I use just organic cane sugar, and you could see that the result of using organic cane sugar is that there's a little more of a murky view due to just more fermentation and yeast, and also it's a more acidic taste, which I actually like, and I don't know what that's due to, but the acid levels that I was talking about before, it's like the gluconic, the acetic, and I forgot the lactic acid, I think, are just higher than when you brew it with regular refined sugar. And the refined sugar will give you a lower acid content and a more clarity in it, and you might get a little sweetness come through. And I've tried to brew it a couple times with the refined sugar, but I always had the experience of the Scoby growing mold, and I don't know, it never really worked out too well for me, but I would try it again just to see. So anyway, we can get started. So this has been brewed, and now I'm just going to transfer the Scoby and the starter liquid from the other brew into this new one. So remember, you want your, I'm going to try not to touch this, but you want your hands to be clean if you do. Also in this book I read that some people have like rinse the Scoby off and let it dry and like do all these things before they put it back into the brew, but I don't know how that would work, and this is my first. Maybe I would try that on like another baby Scoby, but this one, since it's my mother, I don't want to mess it up. So I'm just gonna transfer this into here as easy as I can. This doesn't pour well; it kind of is a mess. Yeah, you can see the buildup of sediment on the bottom. So doing that, I'm probably gonna have to end up touching this. So I'm just going to grab this out. My hands are clean. Just be gentle. Has an interesting texture. And just go ahead and put it in there. Now, I'm just going to pour a little bit in that. And then leave the rest of the sediment there. Now, you can see that that's falling to the bottom, and that is okay. What's going to happen is that at the top of the layer of the tea, there's going to be a formation of the baby Scoby, and it's actually going to connect by this. This will eventually rise because there's a connection between the mother and the baby by like yeast strands, and it'll eventually pull it up. So you will see that, and it's completely okay if it sinks to the bottom, which it usually does. So I have a new cloth here. I'm just going to make sure there's no dog hair on it, because that is usually everywhere. And I'm going to cover this up and do the same thing with the rubber band. And now I'm going to just brew this for, I hope this doesn't break. I'm probably just going to have this brewing for maybe 2 or 3 weeks, because I don't want it to be too acidic, and it should be a quicker brew. And this is really for drinking. And also at the end, I'll have 2 Scobies, so I'm going to wash this out, and then I'll make a double brew. And from here, after this process, it will go quick if you choose it, if you continue to brew. And it's really turning, the weather is perfect right now, and it's just good. So this I kept up on the top shelf in my closet. I made sure that it was on a shelf where there wouldn't be any, like there was no clothes hanging on it. So, if I took it off, there was no movement, because you really want to keep that seal that the Scoby makes, so the carbon dioxide can stay within the nutrient solution. So yeah, that's basically it. And hopefully this brews up nice. I'm excited. And I'm excited to try these, but I'm going to give it a week or 2 so I can get the nice carbonation. So I hope you have a good day. Enjoy this beautiful weather. Bye.